to Schofield Flowers Podcast, Episode 12. I'm Steve Schofield, a.k.a. Scof.
I'm Chris Fratterigo. They call me Fratty.
And so, Chris, how you been?
Good, Scof. Weather's much cooler now. Although I think this weekend for Labor Day is supposed to be like 100 here. And I know up in the valley, hundreds are not common, but you'll have a few days a year that it hits the triple digits. But down here in Orange County, I can't tell you the last time I've had triple digit weather. So I will probably be finding myself at the beach this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, same here. I think we're at about 104, 108. Today, I think we're at like 99. Insane. I mean, it's just like, which means more fires and everything. I feel sorry for these guys that are out there fighting these fires and everything, and that people are losing their homes. And I mean, it's just a crazy world right now. Fires, riots, floods, hurricanes, you name it. It's just like, it's like, I feel like I'm not a super religious person, but I do feel like we're in a snow glow and God's picking us up and he's just shaking it.
I think the Mayan calendar was off by 8 years.
Yeah. Right.
The world was ending in 2012. Nope, 2020.
Yeah.
Just a few years off.
Yeah.
But, with those fires, actually, my dad, I think it's 2 years now in a row, he was supposed to go up north to go hunting for deer and bear. And twice fires have canceled his plans to go because one, like the whole area was on fire that he was supposed to go hunting in. And then the more recent one wasn't even nearby. It was close enough that the winds picked up the smoke and it was just unhealthy to be up there. So, I mean, obviously the fires themselves are something that are more dangerous and upsetting than my dad not being able to go hunt. But I had plans for that bear rug for the living room for sure.
Well, I mean, during the fires, they just come out running. He's like, that's terrible.
Just Ramboing them.
I'm just not, I've never been hunting. I imagine it would be pretty coal. And I imagine we'll have some animal activists on our fucking site now just because of this. But, it is sport. It is sport. And, what are you going to do? Better to be hunted than be hunted.
That's right. Be
better
top of the food chain.
Than the hunted.
If you're on top of the food chain, you're good to go. So.
Yeah.
What's been going on with you? I know you were filming recently.
Yep. Just, I have this really fantastic director team, Andrew and Cody. They call their company Porch House, and then they have a photographer we work with, Jack. We just shot a 5-day campaign for Cadillac for Weber Shadwick out of Detroit, and it could not have gone better. We do have to pay attention to all the COVID guidelines, and that's a little bit of a, wake-up call and everything. But yeah, it's going to be around for the next year. There's no question. I asked the COVID administrator who's there, when you walk on set, the minute you get there, you have to fill out, if you haven't filled out a form online before you get there, because it's sent to you every day, then you got to fill it out right there on your phone. They take your temperature, and then you're good to go. But and then there's questions. If you're doing a union job, then you have to definitely get tested prior to going, and the production company has to pay for it. So there are additional costs. It's driving up some of the costs for production, but wearing a mask, you just get used to it. And if you need to take a break from it, you step away and go stand by yourself and do some texting or whatever, and just take it off for a few minutes to get some fresh air. But otherwise, we're getting into the groove. We've been shooting a lot, and it feels good to be out there. I had just yesterday, I did a little post like you saw, and then I'm telling you, I must have had 100 people hit me back. Great to see that you're out there shooting. It's good for the community and everything else. So people got to get back to work, man. We're all dying out here. So it's been tough for a lot of people and for the restaurants and everything else. But so it felt good. How about yourself? What have you been up to out there in Orange County?
Watching a lot of hockey. Actually, I just watched the first episode of like the Quest for the Stanley Cup that the NHL puts on. And similar to what you were saying, every person in the bubble gets tested every day. They have an app on their phone that they answer some questions. Then they get their temperature taken. All things are good. Then they go get a COVID test. And so every day they're getting, nose swabbed from it. But then they even went as far as to showing how they've separated the broadcasting crew. So instead of having 2 in one booth, they have 2 booths with 1 person each. They're showing the trucks. Usually they have like 20 people in a truck, and now there's like
Right.
9 of them, and it's like one person in one spot, and then whereas normally they're saying there's like 3 or 4 people all in a spot getting shots, and there's 2 trucks now, so they got to communicate back and forth between the 2 trucks versus being right next to them. And they said it's challenging, but they're figuring it out and they're making it happen so that we can have hockey. And I got to tell you, having 3 games in a day starting at 9 a.m., I don't know if I can go back to just, 2 games in the evening after this. It's like March Madness for hockey.
I know. I've been lax. I've been so busy and things and just trying to keep up. I've got to get into it a little bit more, being that I'm the hockey guy too. But it's just, I'm glad they're playing. I'm glad that hockey hasn't been canceled in college or anything. I know some football teams had to cancel here on the West Coast and everything, the whole season and everything. But I'm pretty excited to just see a couple more games here, and then just it's just part of our DNA, right?
Yeah, I don't. I was literally, there's points in time where I was on YouTube watching the like games from Europe. It was
Yep.
like the German, the DEL is, I don't know what it stands for, but it's the Germans' top league,
Uh-huh.
because they were games that I had no idea what the outcome was going to be, and I would just put it on, and like sometimes I'd find out these are games from like 6 years ago, but to me it was a new game. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I wonder what's going to happen here. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just craving hockey, wasn't able to play, so I needed something to keep me going.
That's great. That's great. So who do we got today as a guest?
Yeah, well, we got our favorite resident whiskey enthusiast, Stephen Bridges of Whisky Spy, returning, and
Nice.
I think he's going to be a good interview for everyone to learn a little bit about not just bourbon, which is his new kind of go-to spirit, and he'll talk more about it in the interview. But we talked mezcal, we talked rum, we talked vodka, we talked mixed drinks, we talked a whole sort of gamut. But really focused more on the bourbon, which,
Yep.
like I said, is a little different for him. He used to kind of be more in the Japanese and the Scotches. So I had a great time chatting with him. I'm sure you did too, because he's a good buddy off the show as well.
Oh yeah, he's part of the 59 Club and also the BIR, the Gridiron Rebels, and Stephen. When it comes to the whiskeys and the bourbons and scotches and everything, I mean, he's a project manager in real life, so he really projects everything. So he really does his homework, and of course, he has a website that he's the Whisky Spy. So I mean, he should be doing his homework, but I mean, what he brings to the table is really wonderful. So I think as guests that are watching our podcast, you're really going to enjoy this show because he was absolutely one of our very best a year ago or
Yep.
more. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking
And
forward.
then just one disclaimer, you will hear at some point that my baby's choking in there. Don't worry, she is okay. It was just a little cereal puff, and mom got a little panicked about it. And then I think later on she's babbling in the background. So I hope you can bear with it on the audio there.
Ah, if you don't have kids, you don't know what it's about. That's all I can say. So you know what? I
Awesome.
love having her. Have her sit down on your lap, and we'll have her be our guest one day.
One day. Well, I
Yeah.
hope you guys enjoy, and we're going to kick it over to Stephen Bridges from Whiskey Spy.
Yes. But
Well, I think we had a guest, but I think he might have just left. I don't know. Do you want to introduce who we got on today?
oh, there he is. Good entrance there, Stever.
Oh, welcome.
So we got Stephen Bridges, who has a company called Whisky Spy, and I don't know if you guys remember, but we had Stephen was one of our very first. I don't know, it's probably a year and a half ago when we had our podcast going strong, and Stephen was one of our biggest viewership that we've seen on our podcast. I guess when it comes to liquor, people want to know more about it, right, Fratty? And
Absolutely.
but I think that what we talked about the last time was a lot of Japanese whiskeys, but this time I think we wanted to open it up, Stephen, to you telling us what you've been drinking. I see you got whiskeys behind you. I've got a few behind me, some really great bourbons, and boy, have I found some great stuff to drink
Yeah,
while I've
well,
been on quarantine.
Thank you. You know, it's awesome. It's great to be back. I mean, this is the perfect sort of venue, I guess, because I'm at home. Everyone else is at home. We're all in our quarantine state here, but I think obviously with Zoom and other screen sharing technologies, it's this format works great for what you guys are doing. I'm glad to be part of it. So.
Thank you.
But
Awesome.
yeah, no, I've been working from home now for, gosh, like since March. I was going into downtown doing some work for LA Metro. All of a sudden, I literally just started there. 3 weeks later, I'm back here in the house, which is great because I actually now set up an office. I have a real office now, not the dining room table like I had before. I've got everything sort of situated. The one thing I will say though is that my liquor cabinet is a mess.
He's been drinking too much and not putting anything back.
Yeah, you got to replenish.
I moved since we did this last time. So I've got stuff in boxes. I've got my glass collection. I've got glasses everywhere. I'm going to actually be using a glass today, which is one of my favorites. And not to do a big plug, but they're a great little company. This Denver Liley whiskey glass, and you can check them out.
No free ads. Let's make sure we hit them up, get them paying for that, right?
Yeah, put that up so we can see it again.
Yeah, this is the Denver Liley. They do a bourbon glass. I don't have it. I just have the whiskey glass. But
right on.
But it's great. I met the guy at K&L Wine down in Hollywood.
Okay.
I was there. It was a while ago, but they do a great glass. I'll be using that today. But in terms of just whiskey, wow, I mean, last time was a lot of Japanese. Since then, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I really enjoy when I first got into Japanese whiskey is just very, very hard to come by. It's very expensive. The stock is very limited. Most of the big distillers in Japan are now kind of flooding the U.S. market with all of the non-age statement stuff. So that's still going on. I've kind of got my reserve stock of aged things, but I haven't really broke into it that much. I do behind me. You pointed some out, Scof. I grabbed. I was actually kind of shopping the other day, and I picked up a Hibiki Harmony, which I think we had last time.
Yep.
And then I had this single malt Yochi, which is great. This is a Nika product, and this is a Suntory Hibiki. So these are great summer whiskeys. The non-age statement that they do is fantastic. Again, a lot of the purists will sort of turn their nose up a little bit at it, but I like it. It's great. But if you haven't noticed, back in October of last year, with the tariffs that Trump put on, and there was a bunch of tariffs going on with back and forth between the EU and the United States, and specifically with Airbus, there was a retaliatory tariff against Scotch. And so if you haven't noticed, the price of Scotch, which I tend to gravitate to more, all went up about 25%.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So the Balvenie 12 Doublewood, which is kind of like a daily for me, at about 50 a bottle, was coming in around 60, 65 a bottle.
Oh my God. That's
as a result of that, I actually I got a little bit more into some of the bourbons, which I haven't really tried. So I've been kind of dabbling a little bit with some bourbons. One of them, Peerless, which I don't have today. I was actually going to bring that and then opted not to because this other one really grabbed my attention. So what I'm here to talk about a little bit today, and we can do it, is this will kind of go with you, so I think you'll dig this. This is the Old Forester 1920. This is a bourbon during the sort of the Prohibition style bourbon. So it's coming in at 115 proof. It is fantastic. It's one of the smoothest bourbons. It's got all the good flavors you want. It's got some burnt kind of brown sugar. You've got some chocolate. You got a little bit of banana on it. It's just a lovely gem for about $50 a bottle. And on top of that, again, not subject to the tariffs. So, I think I've kind of been more into the bourbons, and then frankly, this other bottle I've kind of sort of dabbled into. This is a whole nother show if you want, but I've been kind of getting into the mezcals a little bit.
Huh,
So
okay.
That's a whole nother area of whatever, but
that's our next podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to make sure we're staying liquored up, every week, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like I've got a lot of friends who are doing, well, we talk, but this Old Forester is great. So I will pause there. If Scof, you got questions, if you want to ask a little bit, you want to tell me what you've got going on, that's what I've been doing. So.
Yeah, I mean, Old Forester, I've had it before. My son's become a really big bourbon specialist lately, so we might have to get stepping on. He's just been going on a rampage buying different types of bourbon, and that's what I've been drinking lately. I mean, I just picked up this bottle of McKenna. Have you guys seen McKenna before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's won a lot of awards, and of course I have my own glass too with my face on it. So
and it's also bottled in bond, I noted too, which has got a lot of different
So I know what bottled in bond is.
I know. What is that?
Stephen, do you know what that signifies?
I know. Why don't you know what? I don't want to do all the talking. Why don't you?
I know you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on it, but my understanding is was put into place when the 70s. It had to do with some sort of government act, and then it was because whiskeys were basically becoming cheaper quality, not cost, and it was the way for certain regulations to be put into law that they had to make to be bottled in bond. So when you get a bottle that is bottled in bond, certain things happen to it. And I could be wrong, but I think it's minimum of 2 years aged. There's like a certain person that can only do it.
Yeah, it was kind of in response to a lot of the sort of additives and the fillers and sort of what they were adding to it to just try to get liquor out and make it cheaper, right? I mean, they were adding things from molasses to tobacco juice and formaldehyde, just like crap in there to kind of help enhance color. I don't know if it was enhanced flavor or whatever, but that that the bottled and bond distillers, they had to be distilled by the same master distiller. There's had to be at least 4 years actually.
Okay, 4 years.
Federally bonded warehouse. So that means that they had to close it up and make sure that it wasn't, that was only going into that warehouse was that juice. It also had to be bottled at 100 proof or more. So it's been, you can find it today. You're going to pay a little bit more sometimes for it, but I mean, I don't know. I like it. I like the Prohibition style stuff that they were doing. This Old Forester 1920 is fantastic for that. I'd highly recommend it. The one I was also talking about too, not bottled in bond, but not a Prohibition style, is that Peerless, which you can check out on my Whisky Spy Instagram. There's a review out there for Peerless, so I would look at that. That's a recent one, so you don't have to scroll too far down.
Yeah, there's actually on Amazon Prime, for all you binge watching needs during quarantine, there was a documentary that I watched called Neat, and it's a story of bourbon. For the most part, it follows Buffalo Trace Distillery with some of their employees. But really, it was just, talking to legacy distilleries in Kentucky, and basically how there's all these distilleries that were just gone because whiskey had a downfall, and they were closing up shop. because they were making them with all the additives that Stephen was talking about, and it fell off the market where like vodka like boomed, and now there's obviously a whiskey revival going on, and some other spirits kind of taking the next kind of wave after that. But really cool documentary. It's called again, it's called Neat. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's just a fun way for anyone who wants to learn a little bit more about some bourbon history, and especially some history on Buffalo Trace Distillery, which is where I got a couple of my whiskeys that I've been enjoying lately from.
Yeah, what have you been drinking? So you've been drinking. I know you mentioned the other day.
My daily is Eagle Rare.
Okay.
It's from Buffalo Trace, which for the longest time they didn't even have a whiskey called Buffalo Trace. It was just called Buffalo Trace Distillery, and they made a series of legacy whiskeys, and people would go on their tours and they'd be like, oh, well, where's your whiskey? And so eventually they made kind of their entry level one, which is Buffalo Trace. And then just kind of through select, same recipe, but select barreling, location in the warehouse, they make a 10-year bourbon that is their Eagle Rare. And I think for price, it's one of my favorites. I mean, you can find it for $30. Hold on, guys.
She's choking.
Hang on. Whoop.
That was
She's choking.
that was like, yeah, that's serious. That's
That's a mom freaking out.
Yes.
Sorry about that, guys.
She's choking.
The 9-month-old decided she wanted about 8 little cereals in her mouth and started choking on one.
Wait till she throws like a pack of gummy bears in her mouth.
Yeah.
I still do that.
I still do.
And she goes right back to eating them. So,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
We need a break for like a public service announcement.
Right?
This show has been brought to you by Cheerios.
Exactly. Don't eat them.
Yeah,
No.
Not too many in your mouth at the same time.
We're going to leave that in unless they pay us to take it out. That's how the sponsorship is going to be.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you can find it in most stores for $30-$35. It's well distributed. Great little 10-year bourbon, which one of the things they talk about in the documentary is bourbon price is based on how much they put out, not necessarily quality. So you can find some really inexpensive bourbons that are just high quality versus where a lot of times other spirits, the price is based on a brand or expectation, but the quality may not be great. And as you get cheaper, literally the quality of it goes down. So I've been drinking a lot of that, and then kind of my special, again, it's not expensive. It's just harder to find because of popularity in weeded bourbons, such as Pappy. But I got a Weller here. This is the Antique 107. I do like mine a little bit higher on the proof. So Antique 107 is.
You'd really like this Old Forester. 19.
Yeah, so I'm gonna definitely have to put that on my to buy list with that. What you said, it's 100, 110, 115 proof. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. I just, it's interesting from, I've learned from drinking the bourbons that I guess I like a sweeter tasting, whiskey. And what I found that this McKenna was just fantastic. I mean, I never even heard of the company. It's been around since 1855. It gives a barrel number and
like a backstory.
Barrel, yeah, like a 12, yeah, like literally a backstory. So barrel number 1922, and then it's like barreled 12909. Look at that.
And I think that has to do with the bottled in bond, that they have to put that on the label as part of their requirements, because not all bourbons do that. but there are specific things to be bourbon,
Mm-hmm.
unlike other whiskeys.
Well, I love this. I mean, it's 10-year aged, and it's single barreled, and I mean they've been winning for the last 2 years in a row up in San Francisco as one of the top whiskeys. So I'd love to reach out to them and get them on our podcast, and have them join the three of us actually, and learn a little bit about bottled in bond, right? That would be something fun to learn more about. But and then I've also been really digging. Well, it's interesting. My kid bought me a bottle of Basil Hayden, and I just destroyed this bottle here, trying to open up because I couldn't get it off here. I'm like, let me at it, right? But wow, it's. I didn't like it at first. I didn't like it at all. And then, one day I was like, man, I've been drinking all this stuff here, and this whole bottle's sitting there. Well, it's not a whole bottle anymore, because now all of a sudden I acquired a taste for it. It's like, now I've got very little. But have you guys, what do you think of this?
I don't know that I've actually reviewed it. I think I had the last time I think on the Whisky Spy Instagram, I think I had a number of years ago. I think that's been around for my Instagram has been around for like 4 years. So it was early on, but I did I got a cocktail made from the Basil Hayden, and I think that's where I kind of went. But I've had it a little bit. It's not one that I typically buy. Not that I wouldn't. I just I kind of get enamored with different things, and at where I shop, and then all of a sudden I end up buying some of the usual suspects as the dailies. But it just doesn't pop up on my radar as much, although I see it. I'll have to check that out. I gave it to somebody though for a gift. Now that I'm thinking about it, because he liked it, and I thought, okay, you know what, I'll that sounds like a good thing. I got him one of the like there's a Basil Hayden Reserve or something else I got him. So
Stephen, you mentioned having it as a cocktail. I know, my go-to usually is going to be neat, but I do love a good old-fashioned or a Manhattan. What are some cocktails you've been enjoying lately?
Wow, I'm kind of more of a purist, and so it's funny because like some friends of mine, and we'll talk about that, they're very into the cocktails, and they make cocktails, and they have the full bar setups and all of the mixers and all the different, when you go and you drop another $40 on Saint Germain lavender liqueur, it's fantastic, but it's a very niche thing, right? I tend to go more neat. Sometimes I throw it on a big ice cube. I do like whiskey and scotch kind of chilled sometimes, although I mostly drink it neat. But in terms of cocktails, I love old fashions and Manhattans and all that, but I think I kind of been using a lot of gin for cocktails. I've been making, as I mentioned, the Saint Germain. I've been making a great cocktail called a Hot Charlotte, which a buddy of mine turned me on to, which is really just gin. Usually Hendrick's thing is what they prefer.
Yep.
So some gin, some Saint Germain, a little bit of lemon juice, some Tabasco sauce to taste, and then with some muddled cucumber in it, and then a cucumber. It's a great Sunday afternoon barbecue kind of warm up cocktail.
My buddy, my old partner Jeff Suey, loved that drink, but his was a little more pure. It was just Hendrick's, and it was Hendrick's, and then the Saint Germain. So it was like 2 shot. What was it? 2 shot. 1 shot to 2 shots of.
Who
Saint
shot
Germain.
the sheriff?
Yeah, who shot the sheriff? Whatever. But it was fantastic. And then he had a slice of lemon, or a slice if he had a cucumber. Was it cucumber or what else goes with it?
Well, lemon and cucumber definitely work with it.
Yeah. So, and it was a cucumber normally, but if we were in a bar, they normally only had the twist. But wow, what a light drink! And people are like, think it's so light and everything, but you forget it has gin in it. And it
well, last night, so the other thing I do in terms of and again, I'm kind of like low skilled on the bartending part of it. And so what I tend to do, and I did this last night, and you can also see a review of this back at the beginning of the quarantine cocktailing on my Instagram. But I did I just do like I bought this and I bought both of them. I bought a Haku Japanese vodka and the Haku Japanese gin, both put out by Suntory, which is great, and it's really reasonably priced, really clean. It's a rice vodka. Not everyone's into that, but I don't think you can really taste the difference. But it's very clean. Buying a vodka and a gin, but I will take the vodka and then I'll get some of their Trader Joe's like grapefruit, Italian grapefruit soda. I'll muddle a couple of blackberries in a glass and then throw that together and sometimes add a lime or sometimes not. And
wow, that sounds delicious.
Just, you can drink like 9 of them.
Yeah, and then get on your motorcycle and hit the highway.
No.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Post motorcycling. But actually last week, speaking of which, I did go out for 2 summer rides on Wednesday, Thursday last week, do like a 60-mile loop I've got around the house, which is just kind of a quintessential ride of canyons and coast and sweeper turns. And Schofield, love it. I keep telling you, man, you need to get down here, get your bike, crash.
I know.
Then you got the COVID and
yeah, I know,
the funk and whatever. So I'll just stay where you're at and we'll link up at some point.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's funny you mentioned the vodkas. There's another product I've been drinking called, have you guys heard of Refine?
No.
So check this out. They're in Paso Robles, right?
Okay, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a vodka finished and barrel distilled from grapes.
Ooh,
so
interesting.
It's I gotta tell you, it's our go-to for the family right now.
Is that vodka?
It's vodka.
Yeah, it's just like they make vodka from rice, potato, like whatever. I mean,
It's
now great.
I'm telling you, this is probably, wow, it's got to be one of the best that we've had. It is everybody's favorite in all the Schofield family right now.
Interesting color, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it tastes like, I was doing a taste test with people and everybody started to go, man, I like that bourbon, that Refine, man. That's really great. So it's fun. You do a test with you put out the McKenna and you put out the Basil Hayden, and then all of a sudden you put the Refine out. And it's like, people go, I mean, they love them all, but people are like,
you drink that with a preconceived, your brain is telling you it should taste a certain way, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It does taste like bourbon. It tastes like bourbon. It really does. It's just a sort of like a lighter tasting bourbon, It goes down really, really smooth, no bite to it whatsoever. So I'm going to give a shout out to them because first off, I love Paso Robles. Love to live there someday eventually.
What else?
You'd like to live there.
You know what else kind of surprises me? You mentioned it earlier, Stephen, is mezcal. You look at it because it's clear, it's not aged, and then you take it and it's smoky and has so many flavor characteristics, more like a Scotch.
Here, pour me some, Steve.
It really does. I mean, I think.
Fill me up. Oh, thank you.
But
no, Freddy, tell your wife to stop whining in the background, will you?
I'm sorry. What was that?
I love children, so you got to put that baby on your lap before we leave. Got to let everybody see that little baby.
I'll make sure to bring her out. Yes.
Yeah. She's so cute.
Yeah, but there's no child endangerment going on here.
No.
I might have to be obligated to record.
A little sippy cup with a little bourbon.
I'll make sure to prove that when she said she was choking, it wasn't, some weird BDSM thing going on. It was a baby.
Baby BDSM in the same sentence. You can edit that out.
Yeah, right. Steven, so is that the mezcal? That's a tequila?
Yeah, no, this
right?
is mezcal. This is an El Silencio. This is I picked this one up actually in Trader Joe's. I was looking for something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna buy some. They didn't have a big tequila selection, so I went with this. I had a couple of tequila mezcal cocktails I wanted to make. But really, what I like is I like this with like a small ice cube.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to dilute it too much, but it is smoky. It's got all that. I mean, and it's it's a clear liquor too, so it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
But what I like it with in the summer anyway is just having like an orange wedge or an orange slice.
Yep.
Kind of cut your slice and cut that in half, and you can kind of sip and then take a little bit of a lick on your orange wedge, and you're just gonna get some great flavors.
Wow.
One thing I learned, similar to whiskey, is kind of what mezcal and tequila are similarly. So all tequila is mezcal, but not all mezcal is tequila, because tequila has certain rules and regulations as to what it needs to be from certain regions. It has to be 100% blue agave and some other stuff, whereas mezcal is kind of the wide open, just make something with this plant. But typically mezcal, they then smoke it in a pit before they process it.
Right. Now I'll tell you, I mean, at Scope, you and I ride motorcycles.
A lot.
Fratty hasn't enjoyed the experience yet, as far as I know.
I technically have my motorcycle endorsement. I got a bike when I was in Arizona. I rode around my neighborhood for a little bit, and then I sold it.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, some people either love it or don't like it just too much. It's an intimidator.
It was, I was moving, and I didn't want to take it with me.
Right.
And no one else I knew in Arizona rode. So whenever I had any issues, I had to figure it out on my own, which is fun, but time consuming.
I would have pegged you more for like I had a dirt bike as a kid.
No, never. But I did have, it was kind of more of a brat style. It was a custom, it wasn't a Honda. It was a Kawasaki or Yamaha, I don't know, something like that. It was from the 70s.
Kawasaki 18 is great. And it accelerates really quickly.
It was a 650cc.
Whiskey joke.
And
wake up.
650cc, but the guy just custom built it. I think it was like a salvaged bike that they just took and did. Bought it for like $1,000, rode around for a few months just around my neighborhood, just kind of, hitting the wind, and then had to move.
Yeah.
So going back to the whole mezcal motorcycle tie-in.
Okay.
Bring it back.
Ready for this.
I have this. So I have this through where I live, and I can take off and go through Santiago Canyon, which is just past Cook's Corner and all that. For those of you who may know that biker bar, it's pretty famous. But I have this like fantasy in my head where I don't know if you've heard of Casamigos.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So the tequila and and that they do, and the mezcal and all that. Obviously it's George Clooney and his buddy. But I saw when I first started riding, I saw rode by this truck. It was like a Young's Market truck. I don't know if you've ever seen the Young's Market trucks, but they're very distinct, right? They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Kind of old school marketing. You don't find that too much anymore, But there was a picture of George Clooney and his business partner on these vintage, motorcycles, riding through these agave fields for Casamigos, right? And they're not wearing helmets, no gloves, just relaxed, jeans and a t-shirt kind of thing, right? And just cruising, and and that image is to me like it just seems like pure joy. And so that they're doing, not, I mean, okay, they're like, he's forgotten that he's George Clooney for a minute. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you're just out doing what you whatever your passion is, whatever you're with a good friend / business partner or whatever, but doing something that is like, that you thoroughly enjoy and that you find worthwhile. And so, I don't know, I close my eyes and I think, gosh, where can I get that in my life? So I bought a bottle of the tequila, thinking, maybe I'll get some of that. But it's good. It's not the best mezcals and the best tequilas I've ever had. I mean, there's plenty more, but he does a good job. But that whole notion of just the agave fields, that open space, that relaxed attitude, that warm weather, like that is in my head whenever I drink a mezcal. That's the place I go to. And I think about when I ride my motorcycle through Santiago Canyon or whatever. And sometimes and I don't wear all the gear all the time. If I wear, there you go, perfect. If I got the, just have the 3/4 helmet on and a light jacket and just enjoying like that summer evening, like I did last week, But to me, that's I don't know. What did Steve McQueen say? Racing is life. Everything else is just waiting around. To me, that's kind of like everything else is waiting around. If you find that little zone, everything else is just waiting around.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Maybe you say that when you're 52. I don't know.
So speaking of mezcals, I picked this one up actually from Trader Joe's. I'm not familiar with them. I couldn't tell you what's good, what's not, but I saw this one.
Hold that one up again. So
a little
more. So you don't know what's good, or you don't know anything like it, but you've drank most of it.
But what?
But you've drank most of it.
I have, yes. Meaning if you put two up and you were say, which one's better, couldn't tell you. But I saw that one at Trader Joe's. I wanted a mezcal. Again, I think it was like $30, $35. So, a good price.
Honestly, that might be the sleeper. That might be the sleeper liquor for cost and value and versatility. I mean, you can make so many great cocktails with mezcals. It's not that expensive to where you feel like you're cheating it.
Yep. And I think as long as you like that smokiness, you'll be fine. My wife hates it. She hates, Scotch. I open it up, she'll smell it and just be like, "Oh, it smells awful in here." But she likes bourbon.
Tequila. She likes tequila.
Loves tequila, but she won't drink mezcal, but she'll, loves tequila.
Huh.
So as long as you like that, smoky, peaty, you'll love mezcal. I at least I would think. Actually, in fact, we go to Palm Springs all the time, and the last time we were there, we went to Las Consuelas, and they actually have like a mezcal flight you could get. So it's 3 different kind, and that was like one of the first times I really just sipped on mezcal and tried different styles. And then once I figured out which one I liked, I looked it up and go, okay, this is kind of the region or that I would prefer, but they were all delicious. And, I would say outside of whiskey and rum, tequila would be, or mezcal would be, right up there with some of my favorites.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you look like you got the rum setting in the background there.
I actually have more rum than I do whiskey.
Yeah.
But that's because I do tiki drinks, and tiki drinks are famous for having the need of 3 or 4 different styles of rum to get flavor profiles.
What was
that?
Go ahead. I'll let you finish. I want to ask you go ahead.
So with rum, typically it's going to be in the Caribbean, and they have each, country basically is known for its own variety, and it has its own unique characters. But if you blend them, they found all these unique profiles where tiki drinks are almost layered, where you'll take a sip and you'll be like, oh, I taste that Jamaican rum, take another sip. Oh, I taste that it has falernum in it, or, oh, I think it has passion fruit. And you can just kind of pick out different flavors as you're drinking it. And it may have, up to 3 or 4 different rums.
Right.
That's what was that rum bar? Where was it going to go? That rum bar that we went to on your bachelor party.
False Idol.
The place that blew up all the volcanoes.
Yep.
And
yeah, False Idol in San Diego. Really
one
famous.
One of the best places I've ever been.
It's owned by one of the guys who was part of what they call the Tiki Revival. Back in the 90s, a bunch of people started getting together and bringing back Tiki, because there used to be a plethora of Tiki bars. Similar to whiskey, it has its peaks and its valleys. So it started in the 30s during the Depression and was an escape for people. And then, it blows up. It's everywhere. It's commercialized. So then you start getting watered down, commercialized drinks with, that aren't the same. So then people get less interested and get into other stuff. But a lot of the Tiki drinks were like secret recipes. Like if you went to one bar and you got their Mai Tai, and you went to another bar, the Mai Tai would be a completely different drink, not even close, because no one knew what was in all of them. They were closely guarded. The kind of the guy that gets credit for creating Tiki drinks, Don Beachcomber, he would actually create ingredients, and he'd call it like Don spices, in which case it would be grapefruit juice and cinnamon syrup. So he'd be like, put in 1 ounce of Don spice number 1. And so the bartenders had no idea what they were putting in it. And so then, flash forward to the 90s, these people had to like decode recipes and figure out what they were looking for. And so the owner of False Idol is one of the guys that kind of decoded old recipes and brought them back. He has a chain of Tiki bars in San Francisco as well.
Wow. I'll tell you what, that was one of the funnest nights ever. We tried to
remember. Do you really remember it?
We almost killed one guy. Almost killed one guy, and then we almost got on the highway with 7 of us on scooters.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the what are those scooters? They're by whoever.
The birds.
The birds. So and then I was the one that said, guys, I'm the oldest one here. I think we need to look at we're getting onto a highway at 70 miles an hour with our birds at 20 miles an hour. We'll get killed. Let's turn around and go around the long way.
Yeah.
It was one of the best, absolutely one of the best bachelorette parties. That picture we got of all of us lined up like we're bikers was hysterical. So, I'm happy to see. I'm happy to see Alan staying alive out there with his coffee shop.
Yeah. No, that was a good time. I'm glad you were able to come. Obviously those guys mean a lot to me that were able to make it. So that was easily one of the best weekends of my life.
Yeah, definitely. So just wrapping up and everything, Steve, what any other choices of bourbons we should see before we wrap up here today?
I don't know. I mean, the Peerless, like I said, the Peerless is great. Old Forester is pretty good. I would definitely get that.
Right.
I've been kind of sticking with some of the standbys. Like I said, I've gone out. I've picked up at Trader Joe's. I picked up a bottle of the Haku vodka and the Haku gin. I've been picking up some mezcals from there. If you make it into Costco, you can pick up your Avion 42 or 44 tequila, which is like 125. I mean, it's worth every penny. It's fantastic, beautiful bottle. But no, I've like I said, and if you're gonna make cocktails, just if you're gonna make bourbon cocktails, just go get a nice bullet.
Yeah.
The bullet's got a lot of vanilla in it, so it makes it kind of whips up for a really nice cocktail. So
that's great.
That's what I would say.
That's great. And I know you also on one of our next episodes we're going to have you on is you joined a book club, or you started a book club.
Created a book club.
Huh? You created a book club.
and we can just use this as like a little teaser.
Right.
But we decided we both had the same book. This is the book from his parents had it.
Wow.
I ended up. I read it. I couldn't put it down when I was at his house, and I ended up acquiring it on Etsy. So I got an old version of it.
Wow.
But it's Esquire's Handbook for Hosts, which frankly is just this fantastic little gem of writing. You know, it's got everything in it from cocktails to how you set up your kitchen if you're like some kind of bachelor, to cooking styles and different cuisines, and it's got recipes. It's got kind of lifestyle and hosting. If you're having, you know, people over, or you have the unexpected guest, or the lady friend who stayed over the night before, how do you whip them up a nice breakfast and with everything? So we take this book and we kind of, there's 3 of us in the club. It's been a nice little quarantine escape because we will do a Zoom or, you know, video of this, and you kind of, when you show up, you have to do the required reading. So we have specified chapters. You have to make a cocktail from the book, and then be able to tell what page that cocktail's on, so the other people can look at it. Usually, you either make the cocktail and join, or you make it while you're joining, so you can see in action. And then there's kind of some lifestyle stuff in there as well, in terms of what did you learn about how to handle a guest who may have, you know, overindulged a little bit at your house, to having a dinner party and everyone congregating in the kitchen. What do you do? Do you get them out? How do you get them out? What kind of what's the some of the protocols and the Emily Post kind of manners that you would use in certain situations by having people over. So again, the book is written in, it's like 1949 is the copyright in this. So you're looking at a book that was written in 1949 in an era that is very different from today.
Oh yeah, everybody had suits on.
Yes.
You know, suits and ties, and I mean, they went to a cocktail party.
And you know, I mean, again, and how, you know, men were breadwinners and not, you know, where women were stayed at home, and they were the ones that were sort of deemed as the party hosts and the entertainers, where this is supposed to be kind of a book for men that are, you know, kind of like your Mad Men kind of style, right?
Right.
But the writing reflects the attitudes of 1949. So if you really want to get a good look at what life was like in that era, you need to read books from that era. And this book is from that era. And it's a very entertaining and kind of funny to see the differences between, you know, what if the 1949 version of myself may have said to my wife versus the, you know, 2020 version of myself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. In the 49, you would have said, honey, make me a drink. Now you would say, I don't know if you could even say, please make me a drink. You'd be like, go get your own fucking drink.
Like for a drink?
Now it's like, honey, can I have a drink?
That works. Yeah.
Which more power to women. I like a woman that can stand on her own, and so
if you want to, if you want to be in the club, you have to go buy a vintage version of the book. They did a reprint, but it was too late. But you have to get a vintage version of the book.
I just bought one, but you didn't tell me I needed a vintage.
It needs to be, well, you got to have a vintage version of the book. So
where did you get that?
The New Yorker cover. I got this one on Etsy.
All right. Well, I bought the other one, so I don't need to be in a book club, but I can still read the book when we're having our next show. And Fratty, did you pick up the book?
I haven't yet, but I found the right one.
Okay.
So maybe I can be the 4th member. When do you guys meet?
It's a little fluid at the moment, but we will set something up soon. So just stay tuned.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey guys, this has been Freddie. You want to grab your little girl? We got to see her.
She's in the bath right now,
Oh,
unfortunately.
she's in the bath.
Yeah. Yeah, she's taking
You
a
don't
little
need to
bath.
go there, Scof.
All
We'll
right.
get her on next time.
All right.
She'll
Well,
be my
what do you?
co-host.
Exactly. She's so cute. I saw several pictures not over the weekend that just blew me away with her just looking up at your wife and how much your wife is enjoying being a mommy. That's
Oh yeah.
fantastic, So
My new job is just a stay-at-home dad. So you want to talk about a different version of myself in the 40s and the 50s to today. It's a
yeah,
complete 180.
yeah, I know. I can't wait to get back out there and do another Schofield's Flowers, get together. And I don't think that's going to happen in 2021.
Yeah, no, I do want to hear about the thing you did last year, which I unfortunately missed. But didn't you have like a little Valentine's Day thing?
Oh yeah, the Valentine's thing went fantastic. I mean, we've been doing our pop-ups at Lunetta all day, which is a fantastic restaurant off of Pico in Santa Monica. He has an entranceway, so he doesn't. The greatest thing is he found a place that had parking, so you can pull behind the restaurant. You enter into the restaurant from the back. You walk through this little beautiful vined area that's like has tables along this vine wall and just gorgeous. And then they have this little alcove to the left where you can have like a bigger party of maybe 16, let's say. And then they can probably fit 25 to 8 people outside. And then they have the inside, which is more of a diner style. That's Lunetta all day. And then they have all night next door, which you walk through this, hallway to get to. And then they have Lunetta back bar. And that's where we throw our event with Speakeasy. And we have we have burlesque that night. We give a lot of giveaways. I gave away my pillows. I'm sort of bumming that I gave away my Schofield's Flowers pillows. Some guy wanted them I'd never met. Some dude's like, what am I gonna do with these? And I said, give them to your
Goodwill in like Studio City or something like.
Actually, he was from Compton.
Even better.
Yeah, a black dude from Compton, really cool friend of a friend. And he's like, what am I going to do with these? I said, give them to your wife. She'll know what to do. And I do because of this, my t-shirts have my logo on it, right? My buddies will hit me up once in a while saying, Scof, my wife wears your t-shirt to bed every freaking night, and I got to turn around and see your face on her fucking chest. It's so pretty funny. But the event went great. We did a pop-up flower shop. I brought in this girl from Bloom, and it was called Bloom and not Doom, but Bloom and Gloom or something like that. She was fantastic. She did a great job. We built this entire flower, like this beautiful piece coming out of the wall. And then we made an Instagram moment, and then we did our pop-up, or then we did we took over to Speakeasy, and we sold about $3,000 in flowers in 3 days, and it was a big hit. And then next door we had about 70 people come by, and the burlesque was fantastic, and it could not have gone better. And then I was
save it for next time, because I also want to hear about the truck. I want to hear about the other stuff, and we can talk about that some other time.
Yeah, the VW is gone. I sold the VW. I was going to auction off the VW. I was driving to South by Southwest to have the VW auctioned off at Charlotte's Flowers by the Cowboy Auctioneers. Ooh. But unfortunately, COVID killed South by Southwest. So I just, I put it up for sale, and I tell you what, I must have had 100 people hit me up for that van. So I got a good price for it, put a lot of work into it, and bought it for like 46 and sold it for like 9. So, I put another 2 into it, but it was just a great piece to just my daughter and I working on it together and designing it. It was fun. So, so I'm looking so forward to it, because it's definitely part of our brand, having a pop-ups for Schofield's Flowers. I mean, that's it. We try to live the brand and talk about the 20s as much as we can, and that's it.
So then, Old Forester 1920. That's why.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, Stephen, we're gonna have to have you, back on again, and maybe be doing the book club.
Book club. It's fantastic.
And we can drink and talk some more stories.
It's
Yeah,
a
you
little structured, a little free form, so it's all just like this. It's all good.
Yeah, and you can tell
Awesome.
us what we should make before, so we can all do a little
I usually
taste.
I will send out a text that tells the required reading,
Yeah,
and then what you pick whatever. But again, you have to participate. You have to do the thing.
yeah.
You don't do the thing. It just
Is there an audiobook for
experience
Scof?
property. Huh?
Is there an audiobook version for Scof?
You know what? I think it is. Just watch it. Like all 6 seasons of Mad Men.
Thanks, Fratty.
Got it. Smart.
Watch 6 seasons of Mad Men and just pick anything that happens there.
All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. I'm so glad to get you guys. I mean, I'm so glad that we got back together. Fratty, I've missed you, and I just was like jonesing to get the podcast going. Steve, thanks so much for joining us.
No, you're welcome.
Always great. You know your liquor well.
Pre-production of this is a lot easier.
Oh my God! Right?
Because the setup and the studio and the lighting and getting all that.
Yeah.
This is 100%.
Raise your glasses. I want to grab a quick photo of everyone.
But it misses the thing. You know what? I did take a photo.
Awesome.
I'll put this up, but with the whole thing. But I did take a little photo of 5 minutes before I joined of where I was at. So.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to get a photo too. Or Fratty, you got all the logins, right?
I think so. I can send it to you.
Yeah, I'll just let me take a photo too.
All right.
Oh, that's good. We got the old Forester in there. Oh, hey, Fratty, there you go. All right, guys. So good to talk to you guys.
Absolutely.
Fratty, we'll be doing it. I mean, everybody look out for us. We're going to be so much easier to do. And Steve, we plan on having you on a lot. And thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, let's talk about some mezcals and some Esquire's Handbook for Hosts next time.
All right.
Thanks. Good.
All right. Fratty, give your wife a hug for us.
Will do.
All right, buddy. See you guys.
Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. Fratty, what a great little session with Steven, huh?
Oh, yeah. I think I learned a few things about bourbon and a couple drinks that I'm going to have to try, including your buddy's little suicide cocktail there.
Oh, yeah. The suicide. I've had one too many of the suicides, I'll tell you, and which makes me, one too many makes me think of your bachelor party when we, God, I don't know even how many places we got on those damn scooters.
I'm pretty sure.
The funniest thing ever on the scooters was us almost getting on the freeway with them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
All been dead, but like a bunch of bowling pins getting hit by the ball. But
and I've actually been down that hill since then. And I think it was the fact that it was at night, we were drunk and we were on scooters. It made that hill seem like it was huge. It was like, I mean, it was a big hill, but it wasn't as steep as I remembered it.
Right.
And I mean,
going up or going down?
Going down. Like, I mean, I was clocking like 22 miles an hour going down it. And I just thought like, man, this was like the steepest hill I've ever been on. And then I drove down and I was like, oh, that's just kind of like a normal, hilly road.
Right.
But, I think if I recall, I must have been in the, over a 48-hour period. I think I was at like 19 or 20 drinks. So, who knows what my state of mind was at the time to comprehend. But man, that was such a good time. I can't wait for bars to open up and we can go tiki crawl in Palm Springs.
The tiki crawl was the best. Yeah, what was the name of that place with the fired tiki things and the volcano going off?
Oh man, now I'm blanking on it. We were just talking about it, but
well, we'll come back around. And then what was the bar that we went to where you went in the back room and you had cabinets for your own bourbon? You could buy your own, little,
7 Grand.
Yeah, wow.
Which they have one in LA in downtown.
Yeah. So that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's where where I learned a lot about bourbons and so it's fun. It's fun to have somebody that's a specialist. We're gonna have a few more people on the show that are coming in that have really some great specialties to them. We're gonna have Jonathan Scott from Las Vegas.
Yep.
He's got a podcast called Vegas Nonstop. We're going to have Nicola Angelos, who's one of the top designers here in Los Angeles with a brand called Shag Bag. And I'm looking forward to some of the different people we're going to, be talking with. I think that for those who are listening, our podcast is going to have a little bit of mobster, definitely going to be talking about cocktails. We're going to talk about fashion, some sports, and what's going on in today's world. It just depends on, that week. But we're hoping more than anything, you're going to learn a few things and you're really going to enjoy what we bring to the show.
Yeah. Now, Scof, I know you've been watching a lot of Yellowstone, and that's back for season 3. But, something you got to check out if you have HBO Max. I just watched this documentary called Action Park. And there's actually a movie that uses it as its kind of backdrop with Johnny Knoxville that recently came out. And I'm looking it up right now. But this movie takes place in the 80s, kind of back when you can do what you want to do. And, the rules and regulations, and it was kind of just, hey, go, come back when the street lights are on, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But basically, imagine a water park, a go-kart track, and bumper boats rolled into one on a ski resort in New Jersey, ran by a guy who had potentially ties to mobsters in New York City, and had some SEC instances for scamming people with penny stocks, and basically turned it over to the teenage kids who were running it to basically do as they want. He would come up with these crazy ideas for rides. There was a water slide that had a loop on it. So they created this, straight down drop. It had a loop and it would shoot you out. Well, what they had issue with is if you were too big, you wouldn't fit. If you were too small, you didn't have enough momentum, you'd get stuck at the top. So then they create a latch to pull kids out. Once they got the right, feel for it, kids were coming out scraped up, and they're like, why are they bleeding? Well, they opened it up and they found teeth wedged in there from previous people going through, and the teeth were cutting people. It was just a wild time. The park attendants who were basically running it, I mean, this is, one of the like Animal House, for amusement park. They were stuffing mats, that water ride where you have like a yoga mat and you slide down head first. They were taking those and stuffing them underneath the ride to create bumps, and people were just launching off of them, getting too much air. I mean, basically, there was so much injuries happening at this place that they only started reporting the ones that had to be going off in ambulances. And there was so much use of the city ambulances that the city told them, you need to buy your own ambulances to transport people. It is absolutely wild. I mean, the first half of the movie, maybe first 3/4, I'm sitting there like, man, I got to go. This place would be insane to be at, kind of a thing. It's all lighthearted. And then unfortunately,
after 21 drinks at your bachelor party. And then
right. Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, it kind of takes a little bit of a darker turn at the end. There were some deaths that happened at this place, and it's wild. I would highly recommend it. Again, it's called Action Park on HBO Max, and the movie is called Action Point, and it's starring Johnny Knoxville, where he's basically a grandpa talking to his granddaughter about his wild time owning this amusement park. And honestly, I think the real life version was crazier than what Johnny Knoxville was doing in the
So it's
movie.
A true story, or they got it off of a wow?
The one on HBO Max is a true story. It's a documentary about the place. The one that Johnny Knoxville's in uses this real place as a fictional backdrop for this movie. Wow. But there's rides that are in the movie, the Johnny Knoxville one, that are tamer than what was really going on there. And for Johnny
Wow.
Knoxville from Jackass to be
Yeah.
doing the tame version of something,
Oh my
it just
God.
tells you how insane this place was. Some guy almost got decapitated by a boat. Like, it's insane. You got to watch it.
Oh, I can't. It's a movie, right?
It's a movie, yeah.
All right, I'll watch it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I got to tell you, Yellowstone. You know, I looked at my wife and I says, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here and get a ranch. She goes, "Would you shut up?" I don't know. I think about taking, riding horses. I think I'm gonna learn how to ride horses. She's like, "Oh my God, would you shut up?" I'm like, nobody told me how to ride a motorcycle.
Right.
So I mean, what's so bad about riding? Then I'm shining up my cowboy hats and Judy, what happened to my cowboy boots?
Yeah.
And give me that big buckle, would you? Like I'd wear it anywhere here in Los Angeles, But
And then we're gonna see you.
That's Hell on Wheels, man.
Yeah.
That's like that show was a
Yeah.
good show too, Hell on Wheels. But
Love that show.
so
I'm gonna see you going down Hollywood Boulevard with assless chaps on a horse one day. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. And that's the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen, because I got to get to Hollywood Boulevard.
Yes. Well, Scof, I'm super thrilled that we're back doing this again. It's always a good fun. I know we got some great interviews lined up for some future episodes that are going to be coming out. Obviously, for everyone listening, check our Instagram at Schofield's Flowers and find out when these episodes are coming out. It's going to be on iTunes and YouTube, same as before. And I'm having a great time. So I'm glad to be back, like I said.
Yeah, me too, man. It sort of was like that. When I called in, one of the things before we go, I want to have that, we had this, a fan of ours call us and, he's like, when are you going to do the podcast? And hey, I ordered that hat, blah, blah, blah. So, he's actually one of the reasons, I decided to reach out and just say, are you bored? This COVID thing's getting crazy. So yeah, thank you everyone. I'm really excited to be back and we look forward to seeing you more and more. All right, Fratty, talk to you later, brother.
See you, Scof.